Hello, everyone. We're all excited for another startup on the blocks here. We were having a little technical difficulties with Rodney, but we're gonna keep the show rolling here, and I'm gonna share my screen. And Lord Junior, your mic is still not muted. All righty. So welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We're actually uh, excited. We got all the applications in for our pitch competition, and so we'll be doing the pitch competition in 2 weeks. We're definitely excited about that. We'll be giving away two more $1,000, and so that's really exciting. I want to thank all the people that put in their applications, and we can uh, go forward. Lloyd Jr., I'm going to try to put Rodney's number in the in the chat thing there, so you can give him a call. Um, so on the backstage chat. So we're definitely excited, and so let's see. Yep. And our sponsor for this pitch competition is the First Bank, and we're excited to have them on um, uh, there to support their event. Um, and we want to thank our other sponsors, Innisfree, the partners, the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber, and also the Pensacola Chamber, a streaming partner, Bantucola, and SPD uh, Business Center. So we're excited to have all those partners, and one of our founding sponsors is also Gulf Power. We were getting Rodney on tonight. He's one of our mentors, so I wanted to introduce him to you all, but we were having some technical difficulties, but we're going to keep trying. And if Jolisa, if you're in the audience there, if you click that backstage link and come on, we'll get you queued up as well. So that's so for the folks in the pitch competition, I will be announcing that um, on 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 Friday evening. I'll and hey, Joe Lisa, how are you? And glad to see you here. Hopefully, we can get some things going. Let me finish up a little bit here with the pitch competition thing. So once we send a notification out to the finalists on the pitch competition, we'll also send some information out if you need any mentoring help to get started for the pitch competition. So we got a nice set of mentors here that can help you with that. And so our pitch event will be 2 weeks from today. So we're excited about that. Let's see. And tonight, Jolisa is here on stage, and hopefully we can resolve Rodney's technical difficulties. For some reason, we could hear him, but he couldn't hear us. So we hopefully we can get that straight. Right. Alrighty. So we'll a little bit more about Startup on the Blocks for the Jolisa. This is your first Startup on the Blocks event. Yeah, you can turn your mic on. You back muted again.
Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. So basically, we're ecosystem builders, and we're trying to make our local ecosystem more inclusive. And we started working with folks at the idea stage and of their when they first started thinking about forming a startup or starting a business. And this is kind of like we kind of like to catch people when they just get the idea about doing something, and there's a lot of help out there for them when they're trying to do stuff. But a lot of our folks think you have to already have your business established, in order to get help. We try to help you out before you actually launch your business. But if you've already launched your business, we're glad to help you there too, and our mentors can help you with that as well. And we host these events each Thursday, and to allow the anyone who attends the event. It's open to everyone, and to come in and network from 6 to 7. And we have guests like you on, Jaleesa, and you're going to tell us about some some funding sources, and we're going to learn about you a little bit. And so that should be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Um, so this is, I call this our playbook, but I was talking to one of our portfolio companies, and it's today, and people have trouble understanding, some of this playbook stuff. And so the playbook stuff that we have for you is that you have to learn the startup, lean startup methodology, because that methodology, it saves you the most money for when you're building your startup. And so if you go out there and start spending money and haven't validated your idea or your revenue model, you're wasting your money. And if you don't have so much money, it's gonna be hard to recover from that. So a lot of the benefits that we tell you about, you can actually get them before you actually start your business. And a lot of people struggle with that idea. And so we also tell people to, enroll in the startup school, because that'll give you the help get the mindset of a founder of a startup. And that seems to be challenging for some people as well, which is, it's challenging for me as well. So I said, create profiles on f6s.com and other platforms like that. So we've used sparkxyz.io. There's plenty of these platforms out there where you create your personal profile and your business profile. And so once you create your profile on these platforms, you can apply for stuff and see. Rodney, if you can hear me, just hold on backstage there a little bit, and we'll try to get you back on here in a second to test you out. And so when you create your profile on f6s.com, you, like I say, your personal profile, it's like, it's not as extensive as the LinkedIn, but you just letting the audience know who you are and what your background is. And then your business profile, or your ideal profile for your startup, like, let's say, Jolisa, you're here on Startup on the Blocks tonight. And so what I can send you that video clip, and then you can put that on both on your personal profile and your business profile. And the more stuff you have on your profile, you put your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, all that stuff. And the more stuff you put in your profile, your profile score increases. And then as your profile score increases, you can request some of the freebies that they have on the platform. So let's say you need some web space to host your website. You can get web space from Google, Amazon, IBM, and so and you don't have to be a member of any program or anything. You just have to build up your profile. And so for example, I went on there and I built up my profile, my personal profile, and my startup profile, and then I requested some Amazon credits for hosting applications, my startup application. And so when I first requested, the guy said my profile wasn't strong enough. And so I added some more content to my profile, and then I emailed him back, and he said, yeah, it looks good. So he sent me a code to go, and a link to go over to Amazon. And so I put in the code, and 2 weeks later, I had $25,000 worth of cloud credits that were good for 2 years.
All right.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
So it's and there are a lot of opportunities out there. Marketing software, accounting software, you name it, it's out there. Anything that supports startups and kind of moving forward. But so that's why that's the playbook thing. You have to do that, because if you're unknown in the startup world, when you apply for something, if nobody knows who you are, then your reputation is not good. But so that's why that's the playbook point. And our weekly events, other type of points. So you get to meet people. They get to meet people like you, and you're going to tell them about some connecting to some resources, et cetera. And so that's that's the good thing about that. And so I sent out a weekly email that has a lot of funding and training opportunity for startup founders, even at the idea stage. And so, but a lot of opportunities are at as you get further along past the idea and you validate your idea. But it doesn't cost much for you to validate your idea. And lean startup just means you spend as less money as possible. So that's kind of what Startup on the Block is all about. And we host these pitch competitions. So we hosted our first pitch competition a year ago in December. So this would be our third pitch competition in a year. And so we do that just to help people get money to, with their startup. And that's what that's all about. All righty. So we have you on today, Jolisa, and we met a month or two ago, and through a group that we have that where we're actually trying to help identify more resources in the ecosystem, and especially ones that are targeted to Black founders. So you came on board about a month ago, and we're excited. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jaleesa Mason. I'm so excited to be here. Right now, I serve as a business development consultant, and I'm serving the greater Pensacola area. So I have the entire Florida Panhandle. And primarily, what I do is I support the CARES Act Relief Initiative. And this initiative is funded through the Minority Business Development Agency. And what we do is we provide absolutely free business development services to small businesses in the greater Pensacola area. And so, what's really exciting about that is, our missions, they're a lot alike, Lloyd. We are targeting small business owners. If you think you need to get your stuff together before you contact me, please don't. We'll get it together together.
I'm so glad you said that, because we have a lot of founders they think they have to get everything all squared away before they participate, and that's the worst mistake you can make. You need to learn what's the best thing to do and how to do it. But if you try to get everything correct before you start working with the ecosystem, it's a really big mistake.
Right, exactly. Because working in a silo never gets anyone anywhere. Because what I found in my time working as a business consultant is that people actually are the key, right? It's your network. You can have wonderful ideas. You can sit in a room and you can crunch numbers and make websites all day. But when you connect with people, that's when the resources start to flow. That's when the opportunities start to flow. And so that's what the CARES Act Relief Initiative, that's really what it's based on. So the funding for the initiative, the funding goes to providing these consulting services so that as a small business owner, you have someone to bounce your ideas off of. You have somebody that's on the ground finding you those connections, providing you those funding opportunities. And we even sit down with you and help you apply to grants, apply for loans. And so I'm really excited to be able to share the initiative with the group today.
Yeah, and I've been hearing about the CARES Act forever, and since it got started, and I didn't know that was a component of the CARES Act. Most people thought about loans and stuff like that, but here you're saying you all are set up. You're here to provide technical and assistance to help these businesses.
Absolutely. We're here to mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 on small businesses in the minority communities. And so this program is geared towards women owned businesses, minority owned businesses, and veteran owned businesses.
Wow. Okay.
And so, but I've also partnered with a group called Florida Panhandle Free Business Resources, and they have expanded their services also to small businesses, not necessarily minority owned as well.
Mhm.
And so, but the main idea is to take people who own businesses and they look at it as a side hustle, a side gig, and really start to pour into that business owner, because you don't know how your idea could grow into something that could save a life one day.
Yeah. So you mentioned this Panhandle Resources. I've never heard of that organization.
Yeah, so it's a very small organization and it's starting out of Tallahassee.
Okay.
And so what they do is they just kind of gather these resources like contracts like the CARES Act Relief Initiative
Okay.
and other contracts. And as they begin to build their database of these
Hmm.
contracts, they people can apply for free to be a part of their database and then they match you with those programs.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
so that's also a free service as well.
Okay.
Because the idea is to support the knowledge of what's available. Because if we don't take advantage of it, then we lose it and we lose the value.
Wow, that's really powerful. You know the that so I'm glad to hear about the initiative you're involved in. And so there's another initiative. I think it's the Southeast Business Hub, and it's also um, supposed to be some providing support for minority and women on businesses. And so yeah, and so that's
Business hub. I'm going to take that note because I need to talk to them too.
yes, yes. And so what one of the strategies um, um, is for that um, is to kind of identify resources like that you're providing and have a database of those resources, and then also all the businesses should register, and then so you got the same kind of directory as you mentioned, and they can kind of match you up to kind of get the help you need. Just so it's exciting that there's so many resources out there to kind of support small businesses. So so you're saying with this CARES Act funding that you have, your company has, um, um, is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and while you're on, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Rodney on, and all three of us can kind of chat a little bit. But when you get, you're definitely welcome to share your screen, and everything as well. I just Rodney. Oh, here you go. There you go. You disappeared there. You good to go now, Rodney?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, fantastic. Meet Jolisa.
Hi,
Hi,
Rodney. How are you?
Jaleesa. I'm well, and
Yeah.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yes. So
Hey, I'm here.
yeah.
Okay,
So
that's good.
Rodney is one of our mentors, and I tease him a lot. I say, he's the black Mr. Wonderful because he's really he's really uh, you know strict with our founders and leading them and guiding them. So back when I was pitching and stuff, and he was really hard on hard on me and everything. But we really appreciate his knowledge. He's got such a wealth of experience, in with working with businesses from the accounting standpoint and that revenue standpoint. Um, so Rodney, had you heard of any of the stuff that Jolisa was talking about?
I kind of just got in hearing just a few minutes ago. Um,
Okay.
so you may have to say it again just so that I can say yeah or no.
Okay, go ahead, Jolisa. Yeah.
Okay, so the CARES Act Relief Initiative is an initiative funded by the CARES Act bill. About $10 million. It was awarded to various consulting companies. And so this particular initiative is powered by M. Gill and Associates out of Miami. And so they've recently expanded these services into the Pensacola area. And so I'm heading up the services in the Pensacola area, offering free business development services to include loan packaging, grant applications, and business development services, strategic planning, things like that to minority owned, women owned, and veteran owned businesses, small business.
Yeah.
And that's
So
very important. But the one piece that also needs to be in there is that record keeping part, because that's where small businesses and new businesses fail. And I can't tell you how many times I've asked folks, do you have an accounting system or do you keep your records in a box in your bottom drawer?
Mm.
And it's unbelievable how many people keep their records in a box in their bottom drawer.
I
So,
believe that.
so they're doomed from the beginning. My philosophy is you start your record keeping day one.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And then you decide at the end, is this is this not?
So,
Mm-hmm.
Keep
so
them from
Rodney,
day one.
yeah. So Rodney, when you say day one, you mean so like, so in our case, we have some people that just are at the idea stage, and so, um, so you're saying from an accounting standpoint, you still should start, even trying to keep track of all that stuff before you start making any money and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm saying there are two magical dates to me. The
Okay.
day that you came up with that idea and you started trying to put that idea in progress,
Uh huh.
and then the day that you decide to make this a legitimate business with a federal ID number or
Okay.
just as a sole proprietorship. But
Yeah.
at one of those points, you're getting ready to spend some money at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's
And
real.
that's where I find a lot of businesses, small, medium, large, in that beginning, they leave stuff on the table because
Mm.
they're so busy trying to get that business together. And one of the things a lot of new businesses don't need in the beginning is a bookkeeper at a minimum.
Mm.
And unless you're diligent enough to be that bookkeeper, then you better go ahead and spend it now because you will never believe what you leave on the table.
Mm.
Really didn't start recording things from day one.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So Jolisa, do you all provide any accounting advice or anything like that with your services or that you do?
So yes, we do. So it's not exactly an accountant, but we're actually connected to the Orlando Business Center, and the
Okay.
Orlando Business Center has accounting resources, backroom resources, like human resources, and things like that.
Okay.
So we do offer supporting services, but not as detailed as a bookkeeper. So my role actually would be more to provide you and connect you with that bookkeeping resource and help you understand the importance of investing in it.
And that's very important, helping them understand it so in the beginning they can make that connection. Because the longer they wait, the more paying somebody to recreate whatever that they did from the beginning.
Mhm.
I've
Mm.
done a lot of recreating in the last couple of years, and it takes time.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So uh, I'll kind of so Jolisa, how did you get involved in all this? What's your background?
Okay, my background is I work in finance for the United States government. I work in finance, and what I have found just in finance period is that there's a lot of money running around and being spent for the betterment of our country, and so that just kind of led me in my heart to start a nonprofit, and my
Okay.
nonprofit is geared towards professional development and building relationships between local people and the businesses that serve them. And then in that regard, what I found was that people want to start businesses, but they just really don't know how to implement it. It
Okay.
can't get past the idea phase because when it comes down to actually handling it and offering a service and asking for funds for the service, there's just a disconnect. So I had to get into the business development game to first learn how to support businesses and then just be in that space so that I could connect them with the resources that they needed to be successful.
Yeah, sounds like you've been on a journey there.
Hmm.
You move forward and you discover stuff, and so that's definitely sounds like a neat way to land with what you're doing and what services you're providing. So it sounds like this small business development stuff is really resonating with you.
It really is because I understand that it is the key to our survival. It's the key to our children not facing the problems that we face today. Because I believe that a lot of things that we face is because too many people don't feel they have a purpose. They don't
Okay.
understand what they're supposed to do here. They don't understand the impact they're supposed to make. And so to me, small business development is kind of like going back to the tribal days when everybody had a purpose, everybody had a function, and we appreciated their function. And so I just
Hmm.
want to help everybody find their function and maximize it.
Okay, fantastic. So, Rodney, you have a great story as well. And what kind of made you led you to the accounting and bookkeeping arena?
well, well, to tell you the truth, um, when I was in high school and I'd been accepted, my first year of college, I went to Bucknell University in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
My dad said, "What do you think about majoring in?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, why don't you think about accounting?"
Okay.
Talk to the neighbor. So my neighbor actually was a internal revenue agent, and he was an
Wow.
accountant. He said, "Oh yeah, you probably be good at that." I said, "Okay." So I went there for a year, and I actually went there to play lacrosse. I
Hmm.
stayed there a year, and transferred and went to the local school, Morgan State,
Okay.
HBCU, where I graduated with a degree in accounting. So I said,
Okay.
okay, I like this accounting, but I'm gonna do this just so I can get in business because I want to run businesses.
Hmm.
But the one thing I heard from my professors was most business people don't know the piece. So I don't
Okay.
want that businessman that doesn't know the numbers. I want to be able to talk the numbers with the accountants. But I've been in accounting now for 41 years, and
Wow. Okay.
that's just what I do. And
Yeah.
it never,
Yes.
I never got out of it. So I
Gotcha.
help small businesses from grocery stores. I was a controller for a shopping mall company. Um, I worked with a company that had an assembly plant that assembled the undercarriages of train.
Hmm.
A senior citizen development company. I've been with a lot of companies, and now my own business, I have clients that are very diverse in there, from a gym to a water company to a developer. And I'd help other businesses with their accounting, where I might come in and set up an accounting system, and then I'll come back and monitor it, or I'll do it for you once a month, or I'll come in once a year, which is not pretty, because
Hmm.
usually when you see something after a year, you see all the things that need to be fixed during the course of the year. So that's how I got into accounting. And I've worked with a lot of small businesses along the way. So I see the pitfalls that they fall into. So I try to help them understand in the beginning. If I can get to you in the beginning, your road to success is going to be a little bit easier than if you don't know what you don't know, you'll be out of business before you know it. And that those numbers will let you know where you are. And if you do need any type of financing, or you do need to get bonded, or you do need certain types of insurance, you may need a, and that comes from your records and your book.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. So that the so we're very fortunate to kind of have you here as one of our mentors, uh, and and so that's really great. So I guess I remember when my first startup, the I was I would be up there pitching, and then when I started talking about the revenue model and the funding, the people in the accelerator program I was in, they would say, "Man, I could just see your energy level drop when you got to that money stuff," and because you weren't really confident about what you were saying, when it came to the numbers, and so I definitely struggle with that quite a bit, and so you can as an accountant and bookkeeper, you can actually help people understand to start farmers understand their numbers a lot better.
To understand them, and then to look at your trends. Clients always let them look at each month, and then year to date, and then past periods, so they can see growth, they can see decline. But if you don't look at those things on a regular basis, you could be going out of business. You can have money in your pocket and going out of business and not even know it. And that's a
Yes.
big thing with small businesses. You're living basically paycheck to paycheck or sale to sale, and don't realize it because you're barely paying the bills. And then it gets to that point where you have a issue like, let's say, COVID. Now you don't have any, because if you have a small business, you need to have a reserve. You need
Hmm.
to look at what your expenses are for about 2 months, and make sure you can cover that. And then that's a start. As you grow, then that 2 months might become 3 months or 4 months. But successful businesses create a cushion because you never know what's going to happen. And you got to pay attention to your numbers. And if you can't put the to do it, then you need to make sure that that's one of your expenses to run your business. And what you were talking about, the pitch, Tank, you can see the people that come on there that fumble over the numbers to get raked over the coals. And they got to have a daggone good product for somebody to want to invest in them in their numbers well. I'm willing to say 90% of the folks that come over there that stumble over their numbers walk out of there without a deal.
Right.
I wouldn't give them a deal if you can't explain to me your revenue and how you're going to get there, and what percent of the expenses are of the revenue, your acquisition, how much does it cost you to get your customers. I wouldn't want to do business with you either. So if you're looking to get money from an investor and you don't have your numbers down tight, I mean, it's okay to be loose, but you need to getting out of that hole.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What I would comment on that is so as a person at the idea stage, you may not know any of this information you just said, and you may not even know somebody like Jolisa can actually help you, with some of this stuff. And I think what Jolisa said at the beginning, that's okay. You get into this ecosystem and learn some of these best practices, because Rodney, you mentioned a lot of terms that if you never been in business before or in the startup world, when you started asking for help or applying for pitch competition, they're going to ask you some of those same questions that you about those things you mentioned, your customer acquisition costs and all this kind of stuff. And so if you don't know what none of that stuff is, that's fine, but you have to, that's the purpose of participating in the ecosystem, in the networking events, so you can actually learn all this terminology. And then once you learn the terminology, it's not as complicated when you understand what it means. But when you don't understand what it means, it sounds a little challenging.
So I don't want to sound like someone that's a downer or looking at the glass half empty, but there should be a zillion people in Pensacola right now paying attention to this program that have small businesses. But everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody has the answer. They don't have the answer.
Right.
And that's a problem. Because all of a sudden you come see me at the 11th hour, hoping I can pull a rabbit out my calculator. Okay. And, as soon as someone is ready to start a business, someone like Jolisa should come to mind, and they should be able to know how to find her. They should know how to be able to find me or someone like me, so that you can have someone else's experience or resources to get you to your promised land. Because otherwise it's going to be rocky, and you're going to be broke, and you'll be another failed new business. Because we don't take the time, and I'm not just saying this as a people, but as small business people. The color is written, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Small business people that come from whatever they're used to know, whatever they know how to do, and then they get into this business and say, oh, I can do this. But you don't look at all of the pieces of that puzzle that make that business. So it's more than just making that sale and paying the rent and trying to get customers in the door. It's all of the other little things that add up to the whole you successful. And that's the key, making yourself successful. So spend money to make money. New business and part of the business, I'm going to hire somebody on my team that's going to help me get. I know that's what Tyler Perry said. All of the things that he didn't know about, he made sure he put people around him who didn't know. Did I forget?
Yeah, and that's what the ecosystem is there for, to support you no matter where you are, and but they need to understand where you're going. So the Jolisa, you said you had some slides you wanted to share.
Okay, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And so in my slides, they are just giving a little bit more detail into the type of customers we're looking for. Give more details into the program and contact information.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty. And so here we are. And so, are you an entrepreneur who just started a new business, is looking to expand your network, and needs help finding funding opportunities? Because that's exactly who we're looking for. You don't have to have everything together. We're not looking for you to have everything together. Just be solid in your vision and in your ability to follow through on building your business. That's all we ask. And so, and this is what I was talking about, the Florida Panhandle Free Business Resources. We want to help you turn that side gig into a money-making empire. And so on this slide, we have some information about that organization. There's a Facebook page that you can visit for resources and tips. And you can also scan this QR code to easily apply through your phone, and you get your business's information in there. It's absolutely free. And then now you're in the network, and so we can get you matched up with government programs that can get you the grants, contracts, marketing opportunities, networking opportunities that I already described a little bit in our conversation today. So, and also for the CARES Act Relief Initiative. This is the flyer for the CARES Act Relief Initiative. And so this is my information here, Jaleesa Mason. Down here, my phone number, and you can contact me. We can have a virtual consultation to talk about how the CARES Act Relief Initiative can support your business. Once again, it's absolutely free. We've got a listing of all of our services. Our services are pretty extensive. And so what we do is we perform a needs assessment, and we just see what your biggest pain points are, especially if you're a new business. Usually it's usually the same things having to do with finance, accounting, and marketing and clientele building. And so we'll talk about that, and we'll get you started on the path to building your business the right way. And also, this is the information for if you're outside of the Panhandle area, because this goes for all of Florida. And so you can get on this hotline and you can call them, and they'll get in touch with you, and you'll get some of the same services. So yes, this is a very extensive program, and we are very excited to be offering it to well-deserving business owners who want to make an impact in their local economy. And that's all I had. I just wanted to share that information, and I'll make sure I get that information to you, Lloyd, so that you can share it with everyone in attendance today.
Okay, so yeah, definitely go ahead, and if you don't mind, well, go ahead and put your contact information in the stage chat. That would be good, like at least your email or whatever you like, a phone number or whatever, and so that way people can do it. So let's see what kind of because folks definitely want a copy of the slides. And let's see what else. We got any other questions out here? George says, I need a QuickBook accountant to help organize my chart of accounting. Where can I get help? Rodney,
can you hear me? Can
yes.
you hear me? Yeah, froze up.
Yes, but yeah, I could hear you.
You can get QuickBook help from or the people in town that actually work for Intuit during the tax season. Use it since it started. So I know my way around QuickBooks too. I use it for all of my clients. So I'm available to help you with your QuickBooks. Folks and that people that deal with QuickBooks. With QuickBooks, and they'll have a person get into your system and fix it for you.
Okay, That sounds good. Let me scroll back up here. It looks like I may have missed a couple of questions here. Uh, so it's like Terry Williams. He said something that he doesn't understand the concept of doing inventory or labor goals. Does that make sense to you, Rodney?
Yeah, say that. I just heard the inventory.
Yeah. The concept of doing inventory or labor goals is what he's saying.
I'll tell you the things.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you want to know what your inventory is, rest on what you're selling during the current period. So they buy $1,000 worth of lollipop, where you thought you have at the end of the month, so you can really get a good gauge on what you may have sold, how much might have walked out of the door. Labor is one to handle on your labor costs because you don't labor hours or the amount of revenue that. So budget idea and your revenue, that what that is, and that's not monthly financial statements. So you can keep track of it. You'll get up to the year's payroll. That's could be the reason why you did enough revenue. So they are two different that need to be taken. Every month he does a monthly. So he can exactly what he's buying versus what he's actually selling.
Yes. So that sounds good. So Terry's also saying he had a person tell him that a business plan is stupid and it's not needed. Um, so there's a lot of answers to that question. Jolisa, what do you think? You're muted.
Okay, that a business plan is stupid and not needed.
Yeah, that's what he said. He had people tell him that.
Okay, well, I would say that maybe the traditional template of a business plan, maybe that's a little bit intimidating and a little bit overreaching for some people's ultimate goal. But to have a plan, to have a strategy for how you want to move is absolutely necessary because you don't know what kind of success you might face and you don't want to get distracted by something that was never within the line of your goal as a business owner. So I think a business plan is absolutely one of the smartest things you can do before you begin to implement your plan.
Okay. Yeah, and I can comment on that a little bit too. So like it's all depending on what you're doing. If you maybe going to the bank to get a loan, so and they want to see some financials, that's one thing. But like if you're just depending on where you are, see the lean startup methodology, your business plan is your lean canvas. And so it's just a one-page, thing that has those 9 categories. And that's what I tell people. You learn the lean startup methodology. If you just take your time and learn it, you understand what's different about it than a business plan. So a startup is not a business. A startup is just trying to get a model for a business, a revenue model and a business model. And so that's two different things. So and so the lean startup methodology is basically suggesting to you before you spend all that time in a business plan or going out renting buildings and hiring all these people, you validate that your customers are willing to pay for the service that you're doing. So for a traditional business, you can probably go ahead and do a business plan. But for a startup, that's actually trying to build something that scales to a lot of users or customers, you will get to the point where you have all the kind of details that you would need in a business plan. It's just it's not worth much when you're actually getting started. Yeah, because see, so another thing about the business plan and the startup thing. So people typically do a business plan because maybe the bank wants it because you're trying to get a loan. In the startup world, you're literally not trying to get loans. You're literally trying to take advantage of the ecosystem and all the resources in there to kind of fund your product development and working with customers to fund your product development. So you have to be working on something that's needed and that people are willing to pay for it. And because if there's not a big enough market for it, why are you actually trying to do it? So I can go on and on about that particular question. Let's see. Try to see. I'm seeing. Cameron Howard says, "Do small business accountants help with pricing services or products, or is it to help optimize their business in every aspect?" So, so Rodney is not on right now. So, Jolisa, you got any comments on that question?
Do small business accountants, what's the question again?
Do small business accountants help with pricing services or products, or is it to help optimize their business in every aspect? So I think I understand the question. So I'll take a stab at it, Jolisa.
Okay.
So the first part of the question is, does accountants help with pricing services? I would say accountant can help with that because you have to understand all your costs to actually deliver that product or service, and so you don't want to price sell your product or service at a price for something there's not enough margin between what it costs you to make it or deliver it and what you're selling it for. So I'd say they can definitely help with that. And a startup, like if you're doing like a software type thing, you still have to capture all your costs just like you would if you were selling hardware or anything like that. You still have to capture your costs. And so and I would say also if you're in a startup world, if you have to already be interacting with your potential customers in order to help figure out how to price your product as well. And so when you start going through all this lean startup training, all of this kind of stuff is covered. So like when I say join the startup school.org, that's why I'm telling you to kind of do that and getting connected to the resources. So Rodney, did you hear the question?
No,
Rodney?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So what I would yes, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Looks
I
like
can. What was the question?
Yeah, so does small business accountants help with pricing services or products, or is it to help optimize the business in every aspect?
I'm sorry.
So I'm thinking, yeah, so I'll break it out to where it's more understandable. So as an accountant, can you help with me figure out how to price my product or service?
Well, we would come up with a profit, what to make of every sale or stream. And then we'll go back. We do then after that is, what is it going to cost to produce this item or to a new stream? And watch shows like Shark Tank, certain type of a market. How much does it cost you to make that? Because you want to make sure you have enough cushion in there. Everybody gets paid, all the bills get paid, and that thing that I mentioned earlier, put that little cushion that your business can fall back on. So yeah, you're helping you put those numbers together. new phrase now for the last they didn't call it a startup. It was just, I'm getting ready to get a new business. But you come up with what your product is, you're going to either make that product or sell that product and create that product. You have to try to create your company. That's savvy that a lot of people do. You know, you can create what, and that's where they fall short. They think that they're covering all of their costs, and you may forget all that you may end up having to pay to running that you don't even think about when you're taxes that you have to pay, business taxes. There's compensation. There are all these different things that you got to payroll taxes into your profit. How much? So you got to make sure you add everything in that you're going to spend, and then make sure you cover all of those things. Difference is either the profit you made, and you'll see a percentage, or the profit you didn't make.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly right, and so I think Cameron is maybe doing a software startup, and so I guess you need to be aware that there a revenue. You have to create a revenue model for your product or a service, for your business, and that revenue model will help you understand stuff, understand your expenses and cost, and so that's one of the tools that a startup founder actually use. But an accountant is definitely a person to kind of help out with that. And so, George has a question. What's the difference between your organization and the Small Business Development Center at UWF?
So the major differences between the CARES Act Relief Initiative and the Small Business Development Center is we're powered by the Minority Business Development Agency. That's the only agency, and it was just made into an official permanent government agency recently in the last 2 weeks. So we're very excited about that growth. But it's the only agency that's dedicated to the growth of minority-owned businesses. And so the Small Business Development Center, we do have similar missions, but their missions, they feed the greater business community, and they are an actual a grant-making entity. And so the Minority Business Development Agency hasn't gotten to that place yet. And so since our focus is on minority-owned businesses, then our services are going to be geared just a little bit more specifically to minority-owned businesses and translating the language of current business knowledge in a way that minorities can just digest and use in a valuable way. And so that's the major difference between us two. So we're not in competition. I say we're more like complementary services. You can be in the CARES Act Relief Initiative program and still get services from the Small Business Development Center.
That sounds great. It sounds like we one of our mentors works at this Small Business Development Center, and so they've been partnering with us to kind of help provide services. But from what I heard from your services, Julissa, it sounds like you all go a little bit deeper in some ways, with the client, so that and you are funded specifically to support minority business, and I think that's really really fantastic. Yeah. Yes, so that's really really good. So I don't see any more questions out there in the audience. So, and Julissa, I guess you're definitely gonna email the slides to me, and I'll get them to all the folks that registered for the event as well. So, so, and I think that, yeah. So, I think you both have shared a lot of valuable information um, for founders out there of startups, and I'm excited that about both of y'all because I've been trying to communicate some of these things, and I've been struggling this idea of doing this startup stuff, and it's just great to hear that Jaleesa, you're representing a service that that's basically free of charge that targets specifically minority business and specifically from funding from the CARES Act, and so and I can tell you until I met you, I didn't know that service actually exists, and also but by being out here doing something, you get to hear and meet people like you that actually can help, and so uh, uh, Rodney, the all that expertise and knowledge, that you have from all those years in accounting, and you're one of our mentors as well. I think that speaks a lot. Um, yeah, and I see a couple of other questions that I missed over the question and answers. Um, so, so this is Terry has says so he's over in Panama City, and he says, would you consider partnering with the Minority Chamber over in Panama City?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
let's get in touch. Let's talk.
Okay. Yeah. And then he also, let's see. So he says, can the CARES funding be used for capacity building?
Okay, so the CARES Act funding that is in for the CARES Act Relief Initiative, the funding is used to pay for the consulting services. But we could work together to try to find those type of funding opportunities to fund it. But the CARES Act funding is already for the business development services.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, Terry, if you're listening, Jaleesa's contact information is in the chat, section. So it's and Rodney's contact information is in there as well. So yeah, so Jaleesa, we do startup on the blocks under the Kukua Institute, and so you and I have a meeting tomorrow where you're going to be you're going to let me know how you can help the Kukua Institute, go after funding and build more capacity to do the things we're doing. And so that's I would say that's pretty fantastic.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk to you. I'm excited to expand with the Kukua Institute for sure.
Yes. So yeah, because we're like one of the books I read about startups is called All In, and so it uses the analogy of playing poker to being a startup founder, and so you have to kind of be all in, in order to kind of make your startup actually work. You have to listen to the mentors and to get the help you need. And one of the biggest takeaways from that book is you all the stuff related to your customer discovery and knowing what your customers are really willing to spend and what they're willing to pay. As a founder, you have to go out there and talk to these potential customers and know what problem they really have and what they're willing to pay for. You can't just come up with an idea of what you think it's a solution, but if there's nobody interested, that's not the problem people are willing to pay for, then you got a problem. And that's one of the mindset challenges that people startup founders have. And so in this ecosystem, if you're working on a difficult problem that needs to be solved, that's why the ecosystem is there to help you, because you're really disrupting the status quo. Mhm. So, Rodney, you got any parting comments for us?
Um, I, I, my, I guess number one thing is just seek resources. Everyone thinks that they can, and but it doesn't hurt to find ideas, find out about new processes. Definitely take care of your books. Make sure that that's a instead of an afterthought, because too often it's a and you'll be out of business before you know it, and don't even
Yes.
know.
Okay, gotcha. We really appreciate that, and we definitely want to thank you for agreeing to be a mentor to help support our founders out there, and yeah, so that's pretty good. So, Jolisa, you have any parting comments before we sign off?
Yes, I will say that you should let your passion frame your funding. Don't drive for only money. Let it be what you're really here to do, because the money will come if you live in your purpose and your passion. And
Gotcha,
that's
gotcha.
all I got.
Yeah, I say amen to that, and so yeah, I think with the Kukua Institute and the Start on the Block stuff, we're passionate about supporting uh, founders and especially founders of color, but we want to help our ecosystem be inclusive and be considerate of people of color, and I think. Uh, Rodney, the challenge getting on this platform tonight is definitely frustrating, but I think you have if you can get past to a resource or a tool like Hopin, and so like I use Hopin to listen to other pitch competitions and to I found out about Hopin because I was wanting to hear a pitch competition, and that's how I found out about it. They were using Hopin, and so yeah, so it's just, but it's a resource that you got your login for Hopin, so now you can go to explore all the events that are out there that can help you learn, and so when you watch the pitch competitions, you actually the judges start asking a question. And then you say, well, what does that mean? And then you can actually learn from that as well. And so I guess my takeaway is that if you get involved and participate, no matter what stage you're at, you can actually move forward. But if you try to wait till you get all your ducks in a row, you're still going to be missing the boat, in a lot of cases. And yeah, there's definitely strict in numbers and connecting and finding out about things. I definitely learned a lot tonight from the both of you, and so I appreciate you all being on. And so we are our next week. Uh, will be our last, not our last event like this for the year, but then the following week we're going to do the pitch competition, and so we're going to have at least 10 founders pitch. And so we got two categories, one for our portfolio companies, so they'll be pitching for $1,000, and then our new companies that and we have about 20 new companies that applied, and so they'll be competing for 5 slots for the deal. But the beautiful thing about what we decided to do last pitch competition, and I'm pretty sure I'll offer the same thing after this pitch competition. If you applied and you met the criteria that we have, we will invite you in to take advantage of some of the free resources that we have, and so you can get the help you need to move your startup forward. And I'm excited. We're expecting the funding in soon for our Accelerated in a Box program. So that is the lean startup methodology training. So we'll be able to let people log on to that and go through that training so they can literally understand, and learn that methodology. So we're excited, for so after that pitch competition, we'll take those next 2 weeks off and we'll come back full force and in the beginning of the year. And we look forward to having you both back on to share some knowledge. So thanks a lot. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks a lot, Rodney and Julissa.
Okay. All right, Lloyd. All right, Julissa.
All right.
Nice meeting you.